Hi, this is Richard Campbell from .NET Rocks, and I'm here in Orlando at TechEd 2012, and I found Chris Sells, and you traded in your shirt.
I did. I traded in the Microsoft blue for the Telerik green.
I like it. It looks good on you.
Thank you very much.
So you've been really quiet since you moved over. Been heads down, working on hard stuff?
Yeah, so it was interesting. When I first joined Telerik, they were in the middle of a release cycle for Q2, so they were kind of on a path, and I just tried not to disturb them too much, really, is what it boiled down to.
Well, they ship 3 times a year.
That's right.
It's pretty crazy, actually. The cadence is serious.
It is, it's taken me a while to get used to it because it's significantly faster than what I'm used to. But it was actually handy to have that initial time up front. There was a couple of months to get my feet under me and to think what I really wanted to do, for the Q2 release, which we just released yesterday.
Wow.
Right. So that was Q2 2012 was my first end-to-end, right, all the way from planning and what should we do and how do we think about it, all the way to shipping, which happened yesterday. So it was pretty exciting. And
then big piece of the new release is the Win 8 controls. Are they actually part of Q2?
Actually, no, they're not part of Q2.
Okay.
Q2 is our release, our official release. We've got something like 11 products. I mean, it's crazy, the number we do at Telerik. I'm still overwhelmed by it. And we've got a bunch of great features there and new controls and things people should check out. The thing that has also happened simultaneously is we are making our early access preview bits for our Windows 8 work available. And that is just on a different cadence right now because Microsoft is in pre-release mode with their stuff. So we're getting our feet under us where we have an initial set of data visualization controls. As it turns out, Microsoft has left a nice layer of missing functionality for enterprising third parties like Telerik. So that was nice for us. And we've actually had a lot of interest. Both before the show, we literally got hundreds of developers signed up for our Telerik Windows 8 Dev Club, we call it, which is how we get people on the list for preview access to those bits. And of course, this week we've been handing out those codes at the booth as fast as we can hand them out.
Nice.
So lots and lots of interest.
And I do think that there's still an evolution happening here, the relationship between the designer and the developer. And sort of this recognition, I think you see this in Studio 2012, that there's an awful lot of developers that are going to have to do their own design work.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, the beauty of the way, and Microsoft actually started this a long time ago with XAML, right? They really built XAML to be declarative UI, tons of functionality, and we have tools like Blend for laying it out.
Right.
But then we've got Visual Studio, which is great at coding. There was also a XAML editor in there, and the way they set it up is so that designers and developers could share the same project, the same source code, right? The Blend guy could see it in a visual format and drag and drop and work on it until they were happy, until it looked like they wanted. And then the coding guy could go and add the functionality behind the scenes.
And that's the easy step. It's the next iteration that gets hard. When you can go back, so you get that design work done, you got it looking the way you want to.
Right.
Coder comes in, makes the code work the way it's supposed to, hooks everything up. It's when the designer goes back in and makes changes again, does it not break anything?
Oh, well, I mean, of course, right, when you make changes, it's going to break. And it's interesting, too, because there's still, I mean, yes, we've had the tools for a while to do it, but you still see things like designers being uncomfortable working in those tools with live code and just saying, here's a screenshot, this is the way I've always done it, or you just make it work, I don't want to be involved, right, that sounds too hard, right? Or, a lot of times you've also got, as you say, developers who do that design work themselves. They don't have designers. Designers are our precious resource in our industry. So a lot of times, smaller shops just don't have them. Or even Telerik, we have a bunch of designers, but we still don't have enough. We have too much work to do.
Sure.
So a lot of times, the developers are doing either the initial design work or even, in some cases, the final design work.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping we're getting more guidance. So these controls are coming out. We're getting tooling around and making it easier for a developer to not have to use a lot of design work to be successful building something that feels metro-y.
Sure. So Microsoft, of course, has done something that they've never done before. This is kind of a bold experiment, if you will. And when I worked on it when I was at Microsoft, this idea of a set of templates that are actually fully functional mini applications, right? The Grid app and the Split app templates for both XAML and HTML come out of the box as working apps, and they've been engineered so yes, they have static data, but you throw that static data over your shoulder, pull in dynamic data. I don't know, 24 lines of code. You got a real app,
Right.
Right. And it's an app that supports snapped and landscape and portrait and docked. It's an app that supports the multiple resolutions. It's an app with an app bar, and it's got all of the kind of affordances and the look and feel, and everything's laid out exactly the way the Windows 8 UI guidance says it should, and that's a whole new thing to do, right? Can think of it as living, breathing UI style guidelines,
right,
which is the bold experiment. At the same time, they've been very clear what the UI style guidelines are, and so at Telerik, when we built our Windows 8 controls, we are starting with a rich base from the XAML world. We're starting with a rich base from the HTML world, and when we brought those in, we're doing a couple things. One, we're making sure that over time we will have the exact same look and feel and functionality and set of controls across both XAML and HTML. So no matter which way you go, right, whichever platform you want, Telerik's got you covered there.
Right. You
don't have to choose based on technology.
Either development approach, it's either the C# XAML approach or the HTML JavaScript
approach.
Right.
And we have the exact, over time we're having the exact same set of visual and non-visual components, and we've worked very hard to make sure we've got a ton of experience. Actually, Telerik has the #1 set of Windows Phone 7 controls, which is all Metro and touch based. We're bringing all of that experience to make sure the Metro and the touch works just the way I'd expect under Metro. We make it look pretty. In fact, it is amazing how pretty we've made things look, even out of the gate. The first set of controls.
Nice.
I'm very proud of the work my team's done.
Exciting stuff, and I guess you're just following along as the Windows team gets closer. You'll get closer. Will they ship on the same day?
Well, it's funny. We're doing we are trying very hard. So one of the things, we're vSync partners,
right?
And one of the things that we've committed to at Telerik is to sim ship our stuff with Visual Studio 2012.
Right.
The problem is Microsoft hasn't told us when that's going to be
right,
yet.
Of course.
Right, and they just made a big change between beta and RC, and we had a set of UX style guidelines for beta. We don't have them for RC yet.
Right.
So, it's kind of a game of chicken here, right? I mean, we're happy to be there. We're to sim ship. We're kind of doing the best we can, but the engineers are so talented at Telerik. I mean, at Build, when I was still at Microsoft, they had Metro style theming for all their controls within like 48 hours or some crazy thing, and support for Visual Studio VS 11 at the time within 48 hours. It was crazy how fast they are. So I know that we will be, if not the same day, then very soon after.
Within there after.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for talking to us.
My pleasure, Richard.